U.S. Navy Captain Bob Wells joins us. He's a former national security advisor to Vice President Dick Cheney. Bob, always good to see you.
Great seeing you, Eric.
You know what strikes me as the Taliban? I mean, they're unbelievably brazen. They're on motorbikes shooting and killing people who are clearing mines. They assassinated an Afghan Supreme Court official when he left for work. I mean, can the Afghan security forces, do you think, really succeed without us?
I think they can in the long run, but right now they really need us, and we need to keep our eye on the ball. Stability is the objective in Afghanistan. Regardless of the combat operations mission being completed this last week, Secretary Hagel got it right this week when he said that we'll need those extra 1,000 troops. We're going to have about 11,000 troops in Afghanistan going into 2015. It's also important to note, Eric, that we're not there alone. This is part of an international coalition, ISAF. We have European partners as well. We have the Afghanis with new security forces have been trained under the Enduring Freedom Forces of the United States and coalition partners. So we've got a long road ahead of us, but the brazen acts that you just mentioned by the Taliban should be anticipated. Everyone needs to have, become a hard target, as we said, with regard to our bases, our outposts, as well as the helping the local communities there become more aware and also more stable as this new era of Afghan dependent security ushers in.
Well, you think they're up to it? You talk about like 11,000 or so of forces who are still there, as well as the NATO forces. But look, they're supposed to go down to 5,500 in 2016 and then, you know, go down to 0. What happens when we're not there? Can the Afghan forces, I mean, they've suffered like 5,000 casualties so far, so they really have been taking up the fight, but the Taliban, they still seem to be succeeding.
They have to take up the fight. They have to still get better. It may not be in the near term that we could have a timetable. There's no really room for a timetable. We can't just call up a timetable and depend on that. We have to really make sure that we are looking at the conditions on the ground, the security conditions on the ground, keep our situation awareness very keen, rely on HUMINT with regard to where the Taliban is, look at the key provinces they've always operated in, and adjust our techniques and our procedures to basically deal with them.
And do you think our geopolitical, the strategy and the deployments actually accurately reflect the threats that we face now? Look, you're talking about 11,000 in a hot zone like Afghanistan, but we have 50,000 troops and forces stationed in Japan, 28,500 in South Korea, 38,000 in Germany. You're going to have, you know, 5,000 in a couple of years, maybe. Do you think that this should be rejiggered?
Actually, I don't. In fact, during the Bush administration, I was part of the global posture review in 2004 and 2005. We looked at trying to find some savings and some capability enhancements by shifting some forces from Europe to the United States. We were also looking at how the Republic of Korea was doing with regard to the transition in the next couple of years with regard to their command and control. Japan is our strongest ally in East Asia with our security commitments. We have all our alliances in East Asia Pacific. We have 5 of them there, and also with NATO alliance. The bottom line is the United States is a leader, and we have to be ready to essentially lead. We have alliances, we have commitments, we have posture globally so that we can respond to crises in Afghanistan, in Iraq, like we're doing right now with trying to defeat and deny access, any type of freedom of movement. We're going to retrain the Iraqi security forces to Peshmerga. There's a lot of responsibility on the U.S. shoulders, but we have the posture to do it. We have the people to do it. We just have to have the will to sustain this long war, and that's exactly what it is.
Captain Bob Wells saying America is a leader, and you just ticked off a lot of the global threats. Thank you for joining us, as always. Good to see you on Saturday.
Good to see you. Thank you very much.
All right, Thel?
Eric, a police officer gets a